This is my 1999 Specialized Hardrock drop bar conversion. Originally built up to be my gravel bike, the 26-inch wheels, 3x9 drivetrain, and 100mm suspension fork quickly made this my favorite go-to do-anything bicycle. And today, we're going to put a disc brake tab on it. I'll be the first to tell you that rim brakes work. They work so well, in fact, that when you ride as many miles as I do, they wear through your rims. And I really like these rims, so I don't want that to happen. I bought this jig from Incepi about 10 years ago, and I'm pretty sure it's one of their first variations. I really liked the simplicity of the design, how easy it looked to use, and the fact that you could do front or rear ISO mounts. I had a couple of ISO mounts in my toolbox, but you can pretty much order these from any frame supplier online. They're all going to come in pretty standard shape, and you're going to have to trim them to fit. Luckily, this one was pretty easy. As I make my cuts inwards towards my line, I start to realize it's a little hard to see the pencil through my welding mask, right about here. I think I can keep going, but then I realize that I gotta mark this with a marker. And who knew that those skills were just terrible? Maybe it'll be a little bit better with some support from the second hand, but yeah, no. Hey, did you see that? That vice grip moved. It moved again. Yeah, we gotta tighten this up. And that ought to hold it right back at it. Why, that's a mighty fine sticker on that coffee mug. What's that? You wish you could buy one? Well, you could buy one and more at the Pedaling Peddler's Etsy shop. Yes, I just shamelessly plugged my Etsy store. It'll also be in the caption. We're just gonna finish smoothing out this contour here, and then we're gonna start prepping this seat stay. And remember, folks, safety first. What about that little guy right there? Oh, that little guy? I wouldn't worry about that little guy. So everything seemed to be going smoothly until right about here. That was soon solved with a quick battery change, and we were right back at it. See you later, rack mount. After I finish up smoothing where the old eyelet was, it's time to bust out the torch and start removing the paint. If you need to remove paint from a small area like this, burning it off is faster and way more efficient than any stripper on the market. It's not going to get hot enough to damage the structural integrity of the metal, and the paint just flakes right off when you're done. The only downside is the smell, so make sure you got good ventilation because it will stink. See, what'd I tell you? Look how easy that came off. Okay, while I hand sand this, I'll talk about how I didn't film a few steps of the fitment of the ISO tab to the frame. That's mostly because it was boring and repetitious. So I'd just like you to know that there was a considerable amount of time taken to make sure that the fitment of the tab to the frame was near perfect before welding. I definitely didn't get it first try. Unfortunately, this camera angle does a crappy job at showing you how well they line up. With my ground hooked up, I'm ready to go. And this first zap was pretty nerve-wracking. After adjusting my voltage on the welder, I was back for a second attempt. Honestly, I was super nervous and I just couldn't find my groove. You can see here I got my gun stuck. I had to take a second, tell myself I know how to weld, and take a different approach. And maybe clean up that little guy there, huh? Not looking too bad, right? I didn't think so anyway. I'm using a titanium 125 flux core wire feed MIG welder. I got the welder, an auto darkening helmet, and some flux core wire for around $168. Normally the welder is $150 all by itself, so I made out okay. I welded small sections at a time, each section opposite from the previous while allowing time for cooling in between. I did this to minimize any damage or distortion caused by overheating. I really had my doubts that a cheap Harbor Freight flux core welder could perform a task like this, but it actually did pretty well. I was even expecting a piece to come flying off right here, but it held up. This is the last and final section, and with a little bit of cinema magic. You see that right there? That was fast. We made it, and it came out really well. One last little wire brush scrub, and ta-da! Hey, wait, where'd that brace come from? I added it when you weren't looking. Oh. Well then, I guess like and subscribe if you want to follow along and check out part 2 where we delete those pesky V-brake mounts. See ya!